something.
Yeah, it's a home run. You've done something.
Well, I think about that a lot. All right, when you think about this, when you think about memories growing up, okay, what are some things that stand out in your mind when you think about memories? I'm just thinking of some things I wanted to talk to you about. When you think about memories growing up that really stand out in your mind.
Well, it was a different generation when I was growing up. We didn't have cell phones and all the electronics they got today. But it depended on what was going on at school. If it was football season, we would get off. And we had a bottom that we played in. That was the bottom I was just telling you about, where the store was. And even after the highway come through, they left the bottom down there. But later they filled it and filled it up. But we had a big basketball going. I mean, it was a nice one. We had light poles in the ground. Had a good basketball. I mean,
it was uptown.
But back in that day, communities would compete against each other.
Right.
Today, the schools, but we called our basketball court Janie Tech.
Yeah.
And then up, where the Buchanan Funeral Home's at.
Yeah.
And you've seen that old road that went around through there before. Have you ever noticed it?
No, never noticed it.
If you ever noticed, you can see it up there where you come out at Sonny's. And if you go right there at Sonny's, that old road, if you go down there next time, look over, you can see the old 460. It went around that hill. Well, after the 4-lane come through, they had a paved court. And that was called Needmore. Then up in Garden Creek, up where the Mouse Page, we go up to the
right.
Well, it was Consol. Now it's Coronado, and I think they've sold somebody else's chain. Ace Coal Company's chain.
Right.
But right below there, they had a big bottom, and that was pro bottom. But we would compete and go to other communities and. Football season, we'd play football. Basketball season, we'd play baseball.
Yeah.
And then if it's baseball season, we had a field where I know where Carter Machinery's at now.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the community where I was raised. We had a big field there. We'd play baseball in the summer.
Yeah.
And we had the fishing hose and the swimming hose.
Right.
What very few. Grundy Pool was only swimming pool.
Right.
People didn't have pools like that.
Did you hunt much when you was little, hunting fish?
I tried. I was a big fisherman. I enjoyed it. Caught some good smallmouth bass and Leviathan. Back in the end, they used some good smallmouth bass fishing. But one time I went hunting, and I shot a squirrel, and it hung by its paw, and it just kept hanging, and then I couldn't shoot it again, but I should have shot again, and it fell, and I went over and seen blood, and he'd crawled off, and I said, I'm not a hunter. Too tender-hearted.
Yeah. Well, we never, my family, as a boy, I was talking to my son about this yesterday. I never took him hunting. He fishes some. When he goes to the ocean, he likes to shark fish. He fishes some longer. But as far as hunting and fishing thing, and I've got buddies that live to do it. Like Charlie Absher lives to hunt fish, okay? He can go hunting 20 days at a time by himself. But he started that when he was little by himself. He used to go, when he was 8 years old, go groundhog hunting, okay? He would do that and that type of life. But I think of those things, we've always been storekeepers in my family, shopkeepers, storekeepers.
You was working.
It's just what we did, what I mean? And I don't know, we never thought about that. That was sort of the hobby that we had. But you grow up with those memories.
Yeah, your dad had that Sears store there, didn't he?
Yep.
And them trucks would roll in early in the morning.
Oh, man.
You had to help unload them.
Lord, there's nothing worse I hated than about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning you hear an old truck, because they'd have to run over at War early in the morning so they'd get around the mountain. And that big Sears truck would come in, and I'd hear that thing hit his brakes out there, lock that park brake up, and it'd wake me up and have to go down and unload all them refrigerators and fencing and fence posts but yeah, we done that forever. And I think of those memories when you're young like that, and you don't enjoy them because you're too young to know better.
But I'd say you probably had the sharpest car in school back in those days.
Well, you know what? Me too. I was thinking.
Because you worked.
I started in the coal mines when I was real young. Okay, but when I was in high school, I'd worked the third shift some. I worked in the mines, and I worked with my dad, and then when I got out, Dad, a lot of times he wouldn't even give me my payday. Everybody else I see they get a payday, and I never thought nothing about it. I just keep working. And one time I went to buy a car. I said, Dad, I want to buy a car. I found a car I want, and I said I'd like to buy it. and this is how much it's going to cost me a month. He said, well, why would you do that? You got plenty of money. And he said, how much is it? And he reached and gave me the money I'd had. He'd just been keeping my paydays.
He'd been saving it for you.
He
Knew that day was coming.
I wish he'd done that all my life.
Yeah.
I'd been a lot better off.
Yeah, you had a good dad. I loved him. Everybody loved him.
Took good care of me. I think about that a lot. And I don't know how you felt, but I never felt old till my father died. I never felt old, even though I had been old. Okay, but I mean, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me for about 2 or 3 months. I felt like I'd aged a lot. And I never could get old as long as my father was alive. I just felt like I never, because my dad was there, so I never felt old.
You had to be young for him.
And